General Anderson, I'm curious to get your reaction to that point of view, that in no way would this information have either hindered the operation or put service members at risk.
It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous to think that would not hinder. There was at least 5 elements of top secret information that was contained in that thread. Now, we've talked about this war plans and the semantics of war plans. They weren't war plans in the sense that the 500-page war plans that I worked on in the War Plans Division and the Army staff 30 years ago. But they were critical elements, locations, weapons platforms to be used, delivery times. All that would have put American pilots at risk. The other thing is battle damage assessments. There were critical battle damage assessments. There was human intelligence that was contained in that thread. There is somebody now on the ground in Yemen that is at risk, that might be being tortured right now because they know that we had eyes on this guy walking into his girlfriend's apartment. This is absolutely egregious. This is top secret information. These people should be fired.
Should be fired. Major Lyons, would you agree?
Yeah, I'm going to stay out of the political who should be fired. I could just speak to the process, and the process is broken. If there's one thing I'd like to see them come back is tell us that we've fixed this process. This is no way for a country like us to go to war. I understand the concept of putting together this group chat of principals and deputies and, kind of getting everybody on the same page. But then it became very amateurish with regard to their conversation. And then, frankly, once the Secretary of Defense puts that information there, as the General said, that crosses the Rubicon. It crosses the classified Rubicon. So the process is broken. They should have rehearsed this. And I think that's the lesson they've got to take out of this. I'll let the politicians decide whether they should be fired or not. But in the normal military investigation, there likely would be consequences.
Major, you are not buying the line from the administration, from the defense secretary, from the press secretary, that because Pete Hegseth has said that this information is unclassified, therefore it is unclassified?
No, not really. I mean, they're trying to thread this needle about when they can declassify information. They could say anything is declassified when they want to. In the moment, as it's been laid out on the time frames, it's clear it was in the clear, in the open when it took place. Now, whether the enemy could have reacted, it's Machiavellian to say, the ends justified the means. And look, anytime we attack from the air, we go after air defense platforms and all these kinds of things. But this administration has been described 2 ways, right? Go fast and break things from the technology side. But I think what we're seeing on the military side is this issue of commanders expect losses. And I think that, in this case, this is their collateral damage of going fast in this case by putting this information out there, just trying to get this result that they wanted. And I'm glad there was no uniformed military personnel on that group chat as well. I think that would have been a bullet that the military would have had to explain downrange.
General, what questions does this raise for you in terms of what else may have been communicated in this manner? Well, we wouldn't know about it if Jeffrey Wilbur wasn't accidentally added. Yeah. I
mean, this might be going on. This might be a standard operating procedure for this administration. There might be hundreds of these type of chats that are out there right now, and the Russians and the Chinese might very well have right now. And if not for an ethical reporter like Jeffrey Goldberg to come up on the net and say, look what happened to me, we might not ever know about this. This is absolutely egregious. These people are totally incompetent. They've been lying. They're deceitful. They do not belong in these positions. I mean, they committed perjury yesterday. Tulsi Gabbard, absolutely. They knew, these people knew what they were communicating was top secret information. We have got to set a standard in this country. We've got to hold our leaders accountable and responsible. And President Trump needs to hold these same leaders accountable and responsible. And that starts with firing, I believe, Pete Hegseth. Remember, he's the one that said accountability starts now. Well, Secretary Hegseth, let's start with accountability by having you submit your resignation today.
Wow. General, I wonder if you see any benefit to using Signal as a way to facilitate these conversations, because part of what we've heard in defense of this conversation was that there were folks who were traveling, they couldn't get everybody on a secure video line, or they couldn't get them all in a skiff. Is there some kind of positive to using Signal to facilitate these kinds of conversations?
No, not in these kind of conversations. Skiffs, the SIPRNet, JWICs, these are systems the Americans have the taxpayers have devoted billions of dollars to develop these classified systems, this capability to have these kind of conversations. What they had, with the discussions they had, were totally appropriate, but not to be done on a cell phone. Anybody's cell phone can be hacked. And we are constantly at risk of being hacked all the time. Everybody knows that. And these people were lazy and incompetent, and that's why they're doing that. And the other thing, they're trying to escape accountability. They don't want this to be submitted under the Records Act. They want to be able to have plausible deniability that these conversations ever took place. That's one of the reasons why they're doing that. They're not using official lines of communication. They're using Snapchats and discussions on social media so they can get around the requirements of the law. And that is absolutely indefensible. And again, these people need to be fired.
Major, you touched on this a little bit. You both did a little bit. But what does this do in terms of our allies and the message that it sends to U.S. allies in terms of what the trust level is?
Yeah, I think we've got to be concerned about that. The general pointed out we have battle damage assessment. That could have come from an ally. That information that was conveyed, the information that we were tagging that individual, the missile guy they called him, that could have come from an ally. So it does beg the question as to what our allies are involved and how they are involved with this. And the conversation they had about Europe in the beginning of that, again, maybe more transparency was good on some level. But at the end of the day, they need to be working on the partnerships, especially in the intel community. Look, every one of those phones and those people on that chat, they're being collected by not just our enemies, but our friends, the French, the British. Everyone's trying to figure out what our leaders are talking about. So it is astonishing that they don't realize that on those very public phones that they were working on.
Major Lyons, General Anderson, thank you both. Appreciate your point of view.
Thank you.